Hi, Elaine. Elaine, can you turn your camera on? Oh, okay. Well, that's all right then. We are going to do 30-second commercials. So for that, if you could just unmute yourself, you don't have to turn your camera on. That way we can at least hear your introduction. I'll prompt you when that's time though, okay? Hello, good morning. Hi, Laura.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yay,
Yeah.
good morning.
Okay, hi. I'm going to turn my video off because I'm still getting ready this
That's what
morning.
Elaine said. She's like, I'm not dressed.
Yeah, it's just been, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. Yeah, it's just been one of those things. What a morning, or what a week.
Okay, it's all right. I put makeup on for all the ladies today. How's that sound?
You're awesome.
Elaine's in the chat. She said, I didn't know how this works. Well, now you know, Elaine, and it's okay. We're glad you're here nonetheless, whether you come on video or not.
I'll flip over to video shortly.
Yeah. Thank you, Elaine. Hopefully we'll get some people to show up today. I did hear from a couple new folks, so I'm excited. Elaine, this is Elaine's first meeting too.
Oh, good. Awesome. Hi, Elaine. Excuse me. Hi, Elaine. I don't even have my voice yet this morning.
Elaine, Laura is the founder of, she'll introduce herself in her 30-second, but just so you know, she's the founder of Keep It Local, which is the umbrella that I fall under with this networking group. She lives up here near me. And our kids are on spring break.
Yeah. But yeah, when they start though, was there school today?
No school. Teachers are there. But there's no school today. And it was a weird week. I know because your daughter went off to but like they had activity at the end of every day. My one boy is like, can you just pick me up early? Because he wouldn't do any of it.
Yeah, I kind of don't blame them. Like,
I don't blame him either. Well, Joe had to stay because he had football. They didn't want to go back and forth. So he drives, so that's fine. He has his car and he can transport himself.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of messed up with her leaving, you know, for Chicago and then not knowing what the rest of the school was doing.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to because you don't have another kid in there, so you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still doing college tours this week?
No, no, because she's like, you know, I don't want to go. She's kind of made her decision. She wants FSU as her first choice.
Oh, okay.
So, we're gonna do that, I think. And then, I think she just wants to sleep. Like she has been nonstop. So.
Yeah, she probably, especially after her trip, she'll be pooped.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't imagine 20 hours on a bus. Yeesh.
No, thank you. I don't even want 20 hours in anything. This is in my bed.
I know. Good point. Good point.
Maybe my bed. That's about it.
Do you know if Jennifer got all this stuff?
I was going to check in with her today. I didn't because I've been just so swamped this week, but I am going to email her just to make sure she's set. I know she's been promoting it.
Okay. Oh, good. And then is she getting the emails that I'm sending out? Because you get the leadership emails, right?
I get the leadership one. Yeah, I'll double check with her and make sure she's getting it because I did see that you mentioned her in there.
Yeah.
So that's,
okay.
yeah, I'm going to just follow up with her today.
Okay.
I haven't heard from her, so I'm assuming that she's been getting things because she's usually pretty diligent if she hasn't heard from anybody.
Okay, cool.
So, but I'll just double check. I know she's excited to get moving. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to meet her sometime too, maybe before like she launches. Just, maybe we could do a video call.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Mark's back. We didn't see him off last week. Hi, Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Good. Good to see you again.
Yes, same here.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Laura and Elaine are hiding this morning.
Okay.
We have to put our makeup on, Mark, before.
I get it. No, I totally understood.
Before we present ourselves. How's the weather, Mark?
It's a very beautiful, cold day, and we're going to have cold for the next week.
Yeah, so I'm coming up to Stanford next week. And there's
Is it already happening? Yes, the 20 what?
20. So I'll be there the 18th through the 22nd. And so the growth track.
Give me 1 minute.
Where'd he go? Oh, there's the now we can see the window. Laura, can you see it?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say it was kind of cold down here this week, but it's nothing up there.
Compared to that, right? Although it feels colder to us Floridians, right? Because that's how I look at it. Okay. We're going to get started as soon as Mark comes back.
Okay. And my husband's a Canadian, right? So he's a wimp. He is the biggest wimp I've seen. He's like, oh, this weather. I'm like, you were born and raised in Canada. I don't understand the issue.
He has thinner blood and he's a little older.
Apparently.
I think that happens. When he was a kid, he probably out there playing hockey and he didn't, or whatever, like whatever they do in Canada. I always assume it's hockey.
Yeah, he was a hockey player and snowmobiling.
Oh, okay. So you're bundled up for all that and you're running around. So
yeah.
All right, Mark, come on back. Where'd he go? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get us started because I want to be respectful of our time. Hopefully more folks will join us. If not, it'll be a nice intimate crowd this morning, which is fine. Sometimes those are even better. So I think everybody knows me, but I'm Jill Celeste. I'm the chapter president for Virtual Networkers, which is an online networking group that we meet every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern through Zoom. And we're excited to have Elaine here for the first time. So welcome, Elaine, who's in the chat box. So say hi to her that way. Mark will come back here in a moment, and Laura is here as well. So thank you, everybody, for being here. If you're not familiar with Keep It Local, it is a seat-specific networking group based out of the Tampa Bay area, founded by Laura. And they have, how many chapters are you up to now, Laura?
Well, we're going through some merging right now. So I think we're like 18. I didn't really count because we merged a couple together to do some mega chapters, but we still have about 500 members. So
500 members, mostly in the Tampa Bay area. But now that we have virtual networking under the umbrella, we're going to be expanding that nationwide, worldwide. So it's very exciting. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I asked that everybody who is here, if you could, in the chat box, type your first and last name and your email address. That is how we take attendance for our meeting. So again, in the chat box, your first and last name and your email address. And then this is recorded, and the chat box is also copied and pasted. So when this is over, I'll send you an email that will have a link to the recording of today's meeting, as well as a copy of the chat box. So if there's somebody you wanted to connect with, you will have their contact information that way. So thank you for doing that. And, you're welcome to mute yourself. You're welcome to put your camera off, but we're going to do 30-second commercials. So I'm going to ask that you at least put your microphone on, just to introduce yourself. And we'll go ahead and get started with that. So Mark, do you mind starting with your elevator speech?
I do not. morning. I'm Mark Moriello from mycoopartner.com. I'm a fractional chief operating officer who works with single owner small business CEOs. We take a look at the challenges, the operational, financial, or legal challenges that they're facing, address them, and identify and execute real-time effective solutions and turn problems into profits.
We are glad you're here, and you're in snowy New York.
Snowy New York.
Elaine, can you unmute your microphone and introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Elaine Sklone with Cruisers Travel and Tours, a full-service travel agency. I specialize in cruises, but I do all types of travel, and I help you choose the right product or your wish on your travel and help you see the world one trip at a time. Elaine Sklone with Cruisers Travel and Tours.
Thank you, Elaine. Elaine is also a fellow Floridian, though she lives a little south of us. Glad you're here, Elaine. Her first meeting.
Thank you.
A longtime client of mine. Thank you, Elaine, for being here. Ms. Shipman.
Hey everybody. My name is Laura Shipman. I'm the founder of Keep It Local. Like we were saying, we have about 18 chapters in the 4-county area of Tampa Bay, but we're really excited to be expanding our virtual network. So I think this will be a really good venue for people who work virtually. So I'm excited that you guys are here exploring this. A lot of things, or some things that make Keep It Local a little different is we have an educational arm to it where we hope that businesses will go to our resource page of the website and just, tap into some blogs and some printables and things like that that could help them build their businesses. And thank you, Jill, for taking the plunge into the virtual world for us. So I'm really excited about how this is going to all play out.
Thank you. Yeah, so excited too. And I think I mentioned last week, we're having a second virtual networking chapter open with Jennifer Flynn. I know Mark knows who that is.
Yes.
And Jennifer is going to spearhead sort of our Mountain Time Zone virtual network. So another opportunity coming that way. We'll keep you all posted on that. So that's cool, that stuff coming down the pike. And I am Jill Celeste. I'm a marketing coach, and I teach purpose-driven entrepreneurs how to attract clients to their business. I do that through different packages, most notably the Celestial Circle, which is my membership program, where I bring in a great group of people every month, and we do Q&A calls. We have study halls where we collectively work on things, and a fantastic tribe on our Facebook group. So I'm very excited about that offering, and we thank you all for being here today. So, and in case you're not sick of hearing from me, I'm your guest speaker today. And I'm going to be talking about a real tried and true method about getting clients, about referrals. And Laura's already heard the spiel. Sorry, Laura. I've been presenting this across different Keep It Local chapters, and this has been really a very well received presentation. So I thought I'd share it with you all today. Just as a reminder, because I know, and since I know Mark and I know Laura and I know Elaine, I know you all are getting referrals and doing referrals and have been taught referrals. But so think of this as a refresher and maybe a way to rejuvenate your referral marketing. So when I send out today's presentation, or the recording to today, I will send out, in addition to the chat box link, I will also send out a PDF, and the PDF will have, it's just a one page, and I'm just going to kind of hold it up. It'll have a lot of the information I'm going to talk about today. So if you are busily taking notes and you're like, what did she say? More than likely it's going to be on this handout, but you're welcome to ask questions. You can throw them in the chat box, and I'll open it up for Q&A at the end of my little presentation. So any questions so far? Are we good? All right, I'm going to take a sip of water, and we will get going. So let's talk about referrals. One of the, I teach a lot of different marketing channels all the time, right? I'm always asked to talk about networking or speaking or Facebook groups and all those different types of marketing avenues. And if you were to ask me, Jill, what is sort of the most effective form of marketing, way to get clients? I would answer networking, and I would answer referrals. So the reason why is that they both are effective marketing techniques no matter what type of business you're in, no matter what type of ideal client you have. it's just very tried and true. And it doesn't matter who I've coached hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So it really is something that no matter what you do, and whether you're a travel agent or an attorney or a social media, marketing expert, referrals are something that you can absolutely do and get results from. So let's first talk about your referral partners. So your referral partners are those people who will send you referrals, and often you will send referrals back to them. And some of these relationships can get quite formalized, but what I'm going to talk about today is more of the informal, I scratch your back, you scratch my type of arrangement. And if you're not familiar with this book, The Referral of a Lifetime, this is really a great book if you really want to ramp up your referral marketing. It's a very quick read. It's only about, let me see how many pages, 130 pages, and it reads like a parable. So it's not boring. It's a little, I don't know what the word is. It's a little quaint, I would say, but it has some fantastic nuggets in here. And one of the things that the author, Tim Templeton, really turned me on to is this thing he calls the 250 by 250 rule. And I'm just going to read to you what he says. The 250 by 250 rule is this. It's not only who you know that counts, it's who your clients know that is important. And so what he says in this book, and it's something I agree with because not only have I implemented it, but I've coached people on how to do this, is that every single one of us knows at least 250 people, 250 potential referral sources. And you may be like thinking, oh, really? I don't think I know that many people. But if you really think about all the different categories of people that you know, you could easily come up with 250. So one of the things you'll get on my handout is at the top here is a box. And this box has categories of people in our lives. So family, friends, social media contacts, people we used to work with or maybe still work with, people we went to high school with, people we went to college with, places of worship, other networking groups, and the list goes on and on. And what I would recommend doing if you really want to be serious about getting referrals is I would recommend getting out a sheet of paper, numbering it 1 through 250, maybe, or just get Microsoft Word going or whatever is comfortable for you, and start listing the names of people that you know based on these categories from this PDF I'll send you. So who do you know from church? Who do you know from who went to college with you? Maybe even who do you know from your children's activities or your grandchildren's activities, whatever the case may be. And you will come up with 250 names at least. And so what you think about, if you think about that 250 by 250 rule, you have 250 contacts. And then every person on your list also knows 250 people if they were to sit down and write out those names. And so if you do the math, that's an extended network of over 62,000 people. That's a lot of potential referrals just from 1 degree of separation off your list of 250. So I really recommend, again, reading this book if you haven't done so, and making that list of 250 people. Let's see who you know. And again, a lot of us sometimes we edit our list in our heads. And we say, oh, that person doesn't know anybody. We don't know that really until we ask. So everyone goes on this list for a potential referral source until you have information that they're not. And so make that list. That is sort of your first assignment. So then once you've identified who your referrals are, we need to talk about how to ask for the referral. So before we do that, I want to talk about a couple mindset things. So mindset is the fuel that really brings us to success, because if you don't believe in what you're implementing from a marketing standpoint, it's going to fail. It's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? As many of you know, I've been on a weight loss journey. And if I believed at the beginning of this weight loss journey that I would never lose a pound, then I would have never lost a pound, right? It's what you believe in is what comes true. So I want you to believe in this, the referral marketing, so that when you implement it, you feel positive and have a good attitude about it. So the first thing I wanted to tackle is, if you're anything like me, you hate to bother people, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to bother somebody. So here's what I want to remind you. People are naturally wired to help others. We are innately wired to help each other. If you think about the referrals you've given, if you think about the times you've helped someone else with no reciprocation, just because you wanted to help, and that good feeling you experience when you're being helpful, when you help someone on the side of the road, or you help a kid who fell off his bike, or even if you help somebody volunteering or donating money or whatever it is that looks like for you, think about that good feeling you experienced. Well, that's what your referral resources get as well. They get that really, really good feeling. Mark says, I live to help, and he does. You're right. You get a good feeling from experiencing that helpfulness. And so that's really what you're tapping into, is you're not bothering them. You're allowing them the opportunity to help you because they want to. So don't feel like you're bothering. Instead, think of it as an opportunity for people to be happy, because that's how we're naturally wired. Unless your friends are psychopaths, which I don't think any of you us have, they're really going to be naturally wired to help you. So remember that. Another thing I want you to remember is what you put into this type of marketing initiative is what you get out of it. So, if you really want results from referral marketing, or from any type of marketing, but since we're talking about referrals, if you really want results from marketing through referrals, you've got to put the work in. This is not an overnight get-rich formula by no means, but it is a quick way to add clients to your portfolio. And it's an effective way, but you got to do the work. It's not, I'm not going to say it's hard work, but there's steps to it, and you have to be consistent in your implementation. So those sort of the mindset things I wanted to just mention before we get into referral sources. So again, remember, you're not bothering anybody, and in order to see the results you're looking for, you've got to do the work. So let's get into how to ask for those referrals. And on the sheet that I'll send you, there are 4 ways to get referrals. There are certainly a lot more ways out there. There's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to ask for referrals, but I picked the 4 that I have found to be the most effective. And again, it's not dependent on what type of business you're in. These are 4 tactics that work for just about everybody. So the first thing you can do is you can email your contacts. Now, for most entrepreneurs, this is the most attractive one because it's fast. You can copy and paste. You can send the email. It doesn't feel intrusive. You can say, oh, I send an email. You can check it off your list and off you go. But here's what I want to challenge you. This tactic only works with a select group of people. You only want to send an email to ask for referrals to someone who you know is absolutely, without a doubt, not only going to open your email, but take action on it. And that is very few of the people in our lives. Honestly, it may only be 5 or 10 people. We think it's maybe 100, but if you think about who really would open that email and do something with the question you are asking, it's very few. But there are few. We do have that circle, and it's okay to email them. In the on the form that I send you, the PDF, I list. So don't write this down, is what I'm getting at. What you would say in this email. So I'll just go ahead and teach that to you. You want to keep this short and sweet, because more than likely your friend who's got email you're one of many emails in his or her inbox, and you want to explain what the email's about. So you're going to say, I'm expanding my business, or I have openings on my calendar, or maybe you have a new business, whatever the case may be, but you explain what it is that you're doing. And here's the critical thing. When you're asking for referrals, you have to explain who the perfect referral is, who your ideal client is. Because otherwise, you're just going to get any old referral, and that is not going to be helpful for you or for the person that's referring to you. So if you're not ironed out on who your ideal client is, make sure you do that. Most of you have done work on this before in different groups. I know Elaine did that through my Social Marketing Academy. Mark's done that through Bold Heart. Laura's done that through her marketing. So I know you guys know how to do this. Just make sure you're really spelling out who your ideal client is in these emails. Then you ask them, do you know anybody like this? The common expression is, who do you know who? Who do you know who loves to go on cruises and is willing to have someone plan it for them? Who do you know who is struggling with their Facebook page but really wants to attract more clients to it? That is the kind of questions you're asking when you do these referrals. And then you need to have a call to action. So what do you want the person to do? right? So you have them read your ideal client profile. You ask, who do you know who? What is their next step? Is their next step to email you back with a name and an email of somebody they know? Is it to get on the phone? Is it to meet in person over coffee? Whatever, you make that determination. But you need a very simple call to action so that people know exactly what to do to get that information to you. So that's how you do the email. And again, just to reiterate, you don't do this to everybody. You're only doing this to people who will 100% open that email and take action on it. So that moves us into the second tactic you can try is snail mail. So for those people who won't open that email, or maybe will open it but not take action on it, this is a great tactic to reach the other people. Snail mail is still a great marketing tactic, and it's a bit novel nowadays because of electronic communications. But if you think about the mail you receive, when you get a personal letter or a greeting card in the mail, I don't know about you, but I immediately rip that open. I immediately am looking at it because it's so unusual nowadays, right? We get a lot of junk mail. We might get our bills in the mail. We might get catalogs in the mail. We might get newspapers, that kind of thing. But we're very rarely nowadays getting personal correspondence through the mail. That is something you can capitalize on because personal letters have a 100% open rate. No one's going to throw your letter away. They're going to open it up, right? And as Mark said, it doesn't get stopped by a firewall or a filter. It is exactly right. It is, I know, old school, but it's still very effective. So what I encourage you to do is for everyone you have a mailing address for, and to kind of second onto that, someone you can ask to get a snail address for, is I want you to send a letter. Again, I'm going to reference this book, Referral of a Lifetime. This book spells out exactly the type of letters that you want to send. You want to think of it as a campaign. You don't want, nothing in referral marketing is one and done. It is a consistent campaign of following up, sending information, checking in with your referral sources. So the idea, again, is you want to send a letter to your referral sources to ask them for a referral. You're going to receive you're going to give them your ideal client information again. You're going to give them a call to action so you could follow the same process that you did for the email, and again, spelled out on this PDF. But I want you to just think about who you can mail letters to. And as I mentioned, if there's somebody you don't have a mailing address for, simply send them an email or a text message or a Facebook message and say, hey, I want to send you a letter. Can I have your mailing address? And they'll send it to you. It's as easy as that. So when you're sending these letters, I do recommend you give some thought to the envelope and the stationery. I mean, this is your business, so if you have letterhead, use that. If you want to kind of convey your personality. So if you are like, I love paper, so I always chose really bright, vibrant paper, stationery, stickers. I mean, that's my personality. So do that, but you can have a theme to your business, and just have fun with it. And at first, I want you to mail a letter to everyone you have a mailing address for. And might be some hesitancy in that, again, because we don't want to bother somebody, but you just don't know who they know until you ask this question. So initially send that mail out to everybody. And again, it's okay to make the letter personal. So especially if you're talking to people who are family, friends, college roommates, if it's up to you, but you're welcome to personalize this with what I mean by include personal information, info about your kids or your latest vacation or your pets or whatever makes sense to you. You are certainly allowed to do that if that feels right to you. But just make this, like you're having a conversation across the table from somebody, right like you speak, and get these letters out. And this has had great effect on my business, and a lot of the people I've coached, when they send these letters out on a consistent basis, that's the key, this really does help increase your referrals. So let's move on to the third idea, the third marketing tactic you can implement, which are coffee dates. A lot of us hear about coffee dates. If you're active in networking, a lot of the networking groups will encourage you to have coffee dates with the members. And the reason why it's always recommended is because it works really well. So a coffee date is when you agree to meet somebody over coffee to talk about each other's businesses. And so the idea here is that you want to connect with people so you can not only understand more about that person's business, but also that he or she can learn more about yours. this is how referral partnerships are formed, is often over a cup of coffee, right? That's the idea. So if you know somebody that you would love to get referrals from, I recommend reaching out to that person and saying, hey, I feel like I could refer some business to you, but I need to know more about what you do. Do you want to meet over coffee? And you can talk to me about who is a good referral for you, and I can share the same information about my business. The person's going to say yes, because they're going to want to attract clients too. And you just do these. And my mentor recommends 1 coffee date a week. So if you can get 1 coffee date a week with somebody, then that's going to really help that referral marketing work, because you're going to have sort of this unpaid sales force out there. And just so you know, you can do virtual coffee dates as well. If the person is not local to you, or it's not feasible to meet at the local coffee shop, then you can jump on something like Zoom, which is this technology we're using today. And you can do Skype, you can do FaceTime, you could even just do telephone call, bring your own coffee and have a virtual coffee date. That works really well. I've done those as well. But the idea is that you're meeting with somebody one-on-one for 20 to 30 minutes, getting a lot of information about his business, sharing information about yours. Again, you're sharing your ideal client. You're really specifying who that is. And, you know, if you exchange business cards, whatever that looks like, go ahead and do that. But try to get 1 coffee date a week on your calendar to help really grow. And my final tip with coffee dates is it really is advantageous to meet with people who know everybody. So if you're not sure who to start out with, think about those folks who are extremely well connected in your community or in your industry. Those are the people. There are people who are naturally, Laura Shipman is one of these people, who are naturally attracted to a lot of other people. There she is. See how she's a rock star. She heard her name and she just like, here I am, my lipstick's on. But she's one of these people. She naturally attracts a lot of folks to her circles, and so she's a good person for coffee dates in my community. And there are people like Laura wherever you live. So so that's the scoop on coffee dates. Who is my mentor? Someone, Fabienne Fredrickson is my mentor. And then finally, JV partnerships. So JV partnerships. This is a neat referral method, and it's something that, again, you have to work at. But the idea is that you want to form partnerships. Again, these are informal partnerships with people who serve your ideal client, but in a different way. So if you think about, for example, a wedding photographer. A wedding photographer's ideal client, you know, is a couple who's getting married, blah, 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 blah. So who else serves brides-to-be? Well, florists, caterers, wedding planners, banquet halls, officials, etc. So a wedding photographer should reach out to the florists and the caterers of the world that are in her community and say, hey, listen, I know I could probably refer business to you. Probably you can refer business to me. Do you want to talk on, let's, learn about how we can refer businesses, and you form a formalized relationship, not contracts and affiliate links, although that can happen. But the idea is that whoever's in that circle will be only referring to you, or you're in a select number, a short list of people that they send out referrals to. So in my industry, I'm a marketing coach. So people like web designers, writers, graphic designers, life coaches, those are often people I reach out to try to form JV partnerships with, because I often will get a person coming in, for example, who might need a website. Well, it's nice for me to be able to say, well, here are my trusted partners for web design. And then that web designer might, in his or her travel, say, oh, you really need some marketing coaching. May I refer Jill Celeste to you? And that's really how you get those relationships going. So what I recommend doing is make a circle on a piece of paper, put your job title right in the middle, whatever you do, and then draw little circles out to the side and think about all those circles as businesses who have the same ideal client as you, but serve them differently. Write those types of businesses down. It's okay if you don't know who that person is yet. Maybe you are like me and I don't know, web designer. But that just means when you're out networking, when you're out meeting other referral sources, when you are speaking, you're keeping your ear to the ground for these businesses that maybe you haven't met yet. So it really keeps your radar going on, so to speak, really sharp there. So that's the fourth one, JV partnerships. So again, just to rattle off these again, this will come to you through email. Email your contacts only if you're sure they're going to open your email. Snail mail, because it's a 100% open rate. Set up coffee dates, strive to get one coffee date a week. And JV partnerships, forming partnerships with people who serve your ideal clients in different ways, but they have the same ideal client as you. So that's my spiel for this morning. If you want to unmute yourselves, thank you for muting. And what questions do you have? What can I answer for you? I know everybody's sort of done this, so yes.
I thought it was really good when you were talking about the one-to-ones, like the coffee dates and things like that. People approach those not in the best way, because a lot of time, well, at least locally, they'll use it as a selling opportunity to sell their business and stuff. Do you have any tactics or tips, or because people will say to me, I got into this one-to-one meeting and the other person talked the entire time. I didn't get to say anything. And all I heard about was, their next product or service that I needed to buy. And that wasn't the whole purpose of us getting together.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips from that book or anything that you?
Yeah. So I think, and that's without knowing all the whole story, but a lot of times what I find when people reach out is they don't set the tone. So they'll say, oh, I want to hear about your business. Well, that's exactly what they're going to get. They're going to get a whole 30-minute conversation about the other person's business. I always coach my students to say, I want to hear about your business, and then I can share information about my business so that we can learn how to refer from each other. So instead of setting that pace, I think it's too, because there's people, like if I were to do a coffee, there's some people in my mind, like if I were to do a coffee date with an individual, I would have to like set the timer on my phone and say, you get 10 minutes and then I get 10 minutes. Yeah. Because some people naturally are just going to talk. That's just their personality. You have to be in control of that conversation. If you're paying for the coffee,
good point.
But I think setting the tempo right there at the beginning when you reach out. Mark, what do you? Because I know you've coached on this too. How would you handle that situation?
I have a very different approach.
Yeah,
not a very different approach. In part because I have an advantage that I do it this way, but the underlying principle is one I recommend so highly, like Boeing recommends landing gear. I show up in whether it's a coffee date, whether it's a new networking event, or whether it's networking among people who I know something about their business. The context for me, just being in the room or being at that table, is how am I going to help this person today? So for me, in my business, I don't have to talk about my business if I do that. Right. So it's a little different for me. If I spend 20 minutes and asking, and what I do recommend is go to the meeting with 2 to 5 questions that are going to elicit in that person that you have empathy. If you do nothing else and you benefit them in some way, what you're really doing is even at the BNI level, all I wanted people to understand or to experience of me is that good things happen. I never have to ask for business. So let's use BNI as an example. After I'm there for a quarter, their experience of me is, wow, he helped him and her and him. And they heard what I had to say, so they know what I know. They're going to think about when their friends and colleagues have that kind of problem, they're going to think about me whether I ask for business or not.
Yeah.
So if you can find ways to help and demonstrate what you do, you're creating currency, and you never have those boring, here's what I do. And I hated networking traditionally till I did this. Because yes, it's no accident that I say I like to help. Well, yeah, that's just what I like to do. So I'm going to go do that. And then in the course of that, they know what I do. So I don't have to bore them with who I am or what I do. So one way you can do it when you're not a business problem solver, which is what my business is.
Right.
But if you're in a coffee date, without telling them it's going to be this, you can create it as a mini mastermind or a gripe session, in a way. You know, what's bothering you about your business? As a way of setting in context that I am not here to get your business. What I am here to do is enjoy time with you, learn what you are, who you are, and what you do, and maybe help you in some way. I guarantee in the course of time, because the coffee date is really only the segue to more relationships that you're going to build. So here's the problem. Everybody thinks I got 30 seconds or 20 minutes to get a piece of business. That's, I think, where we go off the rails when the context is, as you know from your mentor, Jill, my whole journey in life, my mission is to love them up. I'm just loving them up, even if I'm just meeting them today. Because generally, I'm not meeting with people who I don't like or can't stand in some way or have no interest in. So because I have that gate, so I know it's someone I want to love up. I don't even know how on a particular day. It may come out of the conversation. It may have nothing to do with business. But what I'm doing is establishing a relationship where I'm enjoyed and I enjoy. So it's two-way. I'm valued because I always contribute something. And then I get a chance over time to demonstrate where and how I'm an expert. So if I didn't learn that, I'd never network. Because I don't like networking, but I do love people and I love to help them.
You love to
help. It's kind of the same, but I think the context is different enough that people, even the introverts who hate networking, don't go network. Go have a couple of intimate conversations with new people.
Yeah. That's so true. Especially when you sit in a networking meeting, and this is about networking, but my goal when I sit down in a networking meeting is to have a conversation with a person who sits to the left and a person who sits to the right, and that's it. That's everything else is gravy. But when I went to your meeting, Laura, I got to meet the girl on the left and the girl on the right, and and I got to know them, and I have their cards still here on my desk, and that's what I did, and I think that's important. A reminder is it's all about relationships. Though it's hard to sit, and I sympathize with those members who are just like, oh, I want to stay here and listen to 20-minute sensies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's the traditional model, I think, especially for you guys who are kind of blazing your own trail.
Yeah.
And I've been toying with this myself lately about setting up my own networking groups and have them not be like those others. So, you've got a new easel if you want one. If you're plugging into someone else's, that's different. But, hey, is it time for you guys to create networking, 4.0? I think you could do that. And then maybe your tagline is no more boring elevator speeches.
It's funny you should say that because we're testing that down in Newport Richey. There's a chapter, Jill, called the VIP chapter, and it's the very innovative professionals. And instead of 30-second commercials, they just have a slideshow of their, everybody took a headshot and then maybe a couple of bullet points from their business and a logo, and it just loops continually during the meeting. So
that's cool.
Yeah. And so then that way their conversation is more a business building of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not the 30-second commercials.
I would also recommend that you check out, there's a very high-end business building, kind of like networking, but kind of another notch up, called Vistage.
My dad is a chair for Vistage.
Okay, so they are real successful and they're real high power. But I have a revered business colleague who is also a chapter head or created his own chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed was there's an opportunity here because I don't have the money, or I don't make the threshold amount.
Right.
But their model's great. So wait, what about all us? You're not going to have, those are bigger businesses. Ours aren't. That doesn't mean what they do that works can't work down here, and it can work down here. So you have a great, you've got a direct plug into a deeper look at, well, what are they doing what can I borrow in building these network chapters that works for Vistage?
Do you know Vistage, Jill?
No, I've never heard of it.
So it's a CEO peer group, and they usually meet like once a month. And I think that the threshold that Mark is talking about, they have to do 10 million plus in revenue, I believe.
No, they're actually, there's a category for less than that.
Right. And those are key groups or something like that.
Something like that. But there's nothing like, my practice is businesses owned really by one person because they don't have a partner. I kind of serve as a partner who you don't have to give up half your business to, you know. So that's a big community. And they would understand what works for Vistage. They're not seeing themselves in that light yet, but the principles work just as well down here.
Because so basically they get together and they talk about like what their struggles are. And like as small business owners, we all have the same struggles as the big, it's just at a different scale.
Right.
And there's like this circle of trust within the Vistage chapter where it's kind of like an open field. You can say anything and whatever is said stays in the room. And it's incredible to hear what the people actually share once they break down, and they're all trusting each other. Because I've been to several of the meetings, and it's interesting. And actually, even like something online here would almost be perfect for that, because you can get a level of trust here because everybody's from somewhere else. Does that make sense?
You're not going to see them at the Target.
Right. And so,
or at the kids' football game, which is what right?
Exactly. Like I can't
in the fall, because band, football, guard, whatever. Exactly.
I can't go anywhere without bumping into at least 3 people, right? So, so I think that would work out perfectly here. Is like, and that's kind of like one of the things that we do. It's called "What's Your Problem?" Have you ever done that with us, Joe? No. So everybody writes down on a piece of paper what their problem is, and we kind of throw it into a hat and we draw one. And they can remain anonymous if they want to, or if they want to just come out and say, it's me, and go deeper into the problem. We kind of do like a problem solving segment of the meeting. It's awesome because people like have these light bulb moments who are like, oh, now I know how to attack this in my business.
Because usually what your question is somebody else's question. Or
it's always somebody else's question. Right?
And they're afraid to ask.
They're afraid to ask, or maybe you thought of it, or whatever, the situation might be. But that's a great idea. We do masterminds in Boldheart. And that's the idea, is we sit around in a pod and we bring our problem.
Yep.
And it's really collaborative, which I like about that.
Yeah, and just to have somebody else's critical thinking apply to it, and like you don't think like everybody else. It's just, I love that.
It's too close to you, right?
What's that?
It's too close to you. Like the problem is so close. Right. I have that challenge in marketing. I know marketing up and down, left and right. You do too. But sometimes I'm like, okay, how the hell am I going to market this?
Right. You get stuck in a tunnel vision, and it's just, I get it. So it's good to hear someone else's perspective for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. Good stuff. Elaine had to go. I knew she had to take off for another meeting. But she left a message in the chat box for us. So, all right. Well, so why don't we just go around and just do our announcements. And Mark, if you want to start any announcements, anything, a good referral for you, if you don't have anything to announce.
Yeah. actually what we just, in the course of that last segment of the conversation, you touched on really the basis of my business, which is, you said, I didn't, even as a marketer, I didn't see such and such.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the function that I serve is really is giving the business owner someone, that other set of eyes that won't have that blind spot,
Right.
and be able to point it out and together come up with a way around that particular blind spot. So a good referral for me is anyone with a blind spot, but that's typically, as I said, that's why I work with single owner businesses. In partnerships, we have a complementary side.
Right.
Often, sometimes not. And I work with small couple of owners, but ideally what I've found is single owners, they have a lot of blind spots because they're overwhelmed with
Only one person.
everything. And just having someone to bring that to and solve is useful. So a good referral for me is any business that looks like that actually wants to, as I say, what they find is they're pulled away from what they really love to do. So, I've had a lot of different businesses where I've actually been the COO. I've just taken this to expand the reach. If the guy was a headhunter, he wanted to be on the phone making money.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't want to deal with his real shitty employees.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard part of a business. Well, who got to be the hatchet man? Me. He didn't want to deal with creating better systems. So part of what I tell people is, you keep doing what you love. We'll take care of business, because they don't want to be working in their business, on their business. They want to do what they love to do.
Right.
And I help get them back there. So a good referral for me is any business. You hear a complaint like, I'm not doing what I love to do. I'm dealing with, the alligators in the swamp. That's what I help with.
Love it. Thank you, Mark.
Cool.
Laura.
For me, a good referral for me would be someone who's struggling with the new algorithms out there on social media. So anybody who needs help with training, or they need somebody to manage their social media, anything like that. That's
what if they don't even know? I'm thinking traditionally here. What if they don't even know the power of social media?
Yeah, somebody like that who I can just kind of take them, even if they don't even have a presence on
I have
social
no
media.
idea if they'd be open to the conversation.
Okay.
But there's a wonderful estate lawyer I know in, what is it, South Pasadena.
Oh.
Is that
here in Florida, in
yeah,
St. Petersburg?
It's the St. Petersburg suburb.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So how would I make that introduction?
Actually, I could put in the chat box I have my email in there if you wanted to do a virtual
Well,
introduction.
my email is here. Send me anything about that and share that information.
Yeah, I'll send you stuff.
Mark, so Laura is the founder of Keep It Local, but she has a business.
No, I know that. So, and I thought of the same person for Keep It Local, because who knows?
Well, there is a lawyer group that meets in St. Pete, isn't there?
No, it's real estate.
Sorry, wrong industry.
Real estate.
But everybody, anybody for an estate lawyer is possible referral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the land of the dying. Well,
actually, that's so true.
Heaven's waiting room, Mark.
Heaven's waiting room. I never heard that. I love it. Yeah. I've lost most of my relatives there.
Yeah.
At this point.
As have I.
Which is why I have even have a referral in the St. Pete area. Is, my grandmother and my aunt, who this was her estate attorney. I somehow found this woman from New York because she didn't have an attorney, and yes, they went there to be in the waiting room and be warm while waiting.
There you go. No snow. There's no snow in
No snow. They're very happy about that.
Well, good. So, Mark, you put your email there so Laura can.
Yes, I put it above. I'm going to do it again.
Awesome. Yay. Laura, was that everything you had for your ask? Okay. A good referral for me is a business owner who is either starting out in his or her business or has yet to see a profit in his or her business and really could use some coaching as well as a community of supporters to help lift that person and keep them really in a good mindset. That's what I'm recruiting for the Celestial Circle. It's very affordable at only $55 a month, so they don't have to be millionaires to afford my program. So if anybody know anybody, the best web address, I'll type it in here, is circletrial.com. They can try the Celestial Circle for $1 for 30 days, see if it's of interest to them. And if it is, they just stay in the program and then they will just get the monthly fee. They can cancel at any time. So always looking for wonderful entrepreneurs with that. It's a really robust program. I'm really proud of it. And we got a great group, but I want more.
What will they learn in the course of the year? What will improve in the course of the year?
So what they're going to learn is marketing, of course, because that's what I teach. So they'll learn how to market their business, online marketing, traditional marketing, that type of thing. But what it really is, I think, essential is they get rid of that feeling of loneliness, and they stay in faith, because my belief is that's why entrepreneurs quit. They don't quit because they don't have clients. They don't quit because they're not making money. They quit because they've lost faith in what it is that they're doing. And so by plugging into this sacred community of like-minded people really helps keep them in faith. They have a place to go to that vent or celebrate their wins. So that's the intent.
Clear?
I'm just checking it out right now on your.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you. So if you know anybody.
Your marketing technique clearly worked. I've never said hello and welcome to more people in less time than since you started the Circle Trial.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
What's your conversion rate from the trial to what do the numbers look like?
So it's an early program, but I have 80% conversion right now.
Wow. That's excellent.
That's fantastic, Jill. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. So if I can keep that pace, I'll be a happy girl.
Yeah.
And I'll be saying hello a lot.
So you do monthly calls? Is that what I'm just kind of skimming as I'm not really reading everything.
A monthly Q&A call, 90-minute Q&A call. It's where you come in and ask me a question. We also collaborate so that people chime in too. They have a study hall. So the study hall is a 2.5-hour block of time. We meet through Zoom and collectively we work on things. So basically we come in, I send them a time blocking sheet beforehand so they map out exactly what they want to work on during study hall so they don't get distracted. And I say, okay, we'll meet again in 1 hour, set your timers, come back. So most of them will mute, and this is what you see when you or this. And they just work, because that's something that I notice a lot of my ideal clients just don't make time for marketing their business. So this is at least 2.5 hours a month to.
That's really cool.
Are they working on some kind of templated outline that you provide?
No, it's whatever's up to them. Now they do get a monthly training curriculum. So some people will work on the homework from the training curriculum.
Okay, so there is training curriculum.
Yeah, they're getting. Yep.
Okay, so your stuff, because I know your stuff.
Yeah, so they get stuff.
Okay, so there's training.
In fact, I took a screenshot of what they said they got accomplished. So last time, people worked on Canva. They got 8 graphics completed, wrote a newsletter, created a flyer, worked on ideal client, worked on social media posts, did an outline for a presentation. So it's that kind of, it's marketing, really, a lot of marketing stuff. So we hope to kind of that container for them to finish that and get that done. And then with it too.
What are your less DIY or more hands-on clients look like? Who do you help, like, put your own hands in the clay and help them build their marketing?
So those people typically are, I attract a lot of people who are working full time and are bringing their businesses up on the side. That's who I tend to have, because they have income to pay me to hands-on. So that's typically who that is. Is
it usually for a side hustle, or are they trying to segue into full business?
Because that's what I did.
I know that's what you did. So you tell people you did that, and then they're happy. Oh, good, I'm going to come with you.
And say, well, if you want to pay this coaching package, I'll be happy to share it. I'll be happy to help you out.
What's your coaching package cost these days?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I know that's terrible.
But it's kind of like a monthly.
Yeah, it's a monthly thing. It's on my website.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, my price is on my website. I know I'm a rebel.
Do you teach them like practical stuff? Like, do you teach them Canva, or do you teach them like setting up an email campaign and stuff like that, or do you just tell them to do it?
I will teach them over. I don't get specific to the platform, but I do say, you can use Canva, or you can use MailChimp. So I kind of point them down the right road, but I don't offer any tutorials that are software specific or anything like that.
Okay. Cool.
Only because it changes, and then I have outdated.
Yeah, you almost have to do those live because they do change all the time.
Yeah.
New features come out and everything, for sure.
Aren't Canva and MailChimp completely different things?
Yeah, I was just using those two examples.
Oh, okay. I got confused for a minute.
You can design something in Canva, put it in MailChimp, but yeah.
Right. Well, I just had a MailChimp email from MailChimp saying, see what's new about MailChimp, and that's why I asked the question. I thought maybe they're doing something completely different.
I don't know. I'm such an Infusionsoft girl. That's where I'm at. But a lot of people use MailChimp. And I have people in my, do you do email marketing too, Laura, or mostly social media?
No, I do. I kind of do all digital marketing.
Okay,
but
I'll add you to because I have some folks that I'd say, well, here's somebody I recommend to hire so that they can get it done for them.
Yeah. Actually, I have a question about, what do you know as far as, I heard something yesterday, I was listening to like a podcast or something, and they said MailChimp, and I use MailChimp all the time, is not a great platform to use because it's always somehow flagged and sent to spam no matter what. Is that true? Do you know that?
I've heard that too. I've heard that.
You've heard that too?
It's often on the filter. On the server level.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that does mean that Constant Contact isn't also on there, or Aweber or others. Like my open rate's pretty good on Infusionsoft, but I'm careful about the subject lines. I don't use the words that tend to get flagged. And I think.
What's your open rate? Do you mind me asking?
I have about, on my newsletter, I have about 12%. If I'm emailing something to my tribe, so that's the smaller group of people, it's like 30. So I segment my list, which is why I see that result. But I have a 12%.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's where, like, I think I'm at 15% on my large email list, and then I'm about the same on my smaller groups.
Yeah.
So
but you're using contacts, right?
What's that?
You're using Constant Contact?
No, I'm using MailChimp. That's why I asked what your open rate was, because I'm wondering, MailChimp will say the industry standard is 18%. I think it is. And so I'm a couple percent under that. And so I was like, okay, I'm wondering if that's the truth, if they're telling the truth, that my open rate is that, and I'm in line. That's why I asked what yours was, just to see.
Yeah, I always thought anything over 10 was good.
Me too.
If I made that up or if I read it somewhere.
Well, I think if you're dealing in the thousands with email addresses, I think it's a good open rate, to be honest with you.
Several thousand people on my list, and you probably do too. So
that's why I was asking.
Yeah, cool. How many email people do you have, Mark?
I'm not really
you don't do it,
doing a lot of email marketing, although I really would like to. I just, my referrals come from people I know.
Where you work it, right?
But it is time for me to, I want to start, I think of a lot of things I know would be helpful, and they're not getting out there. So until I create a target for it to go to. These things are just staying here.
Yeah. You need a fractional CO.
That's right.
I need a fractional marketing specialist.
There you go.
There you go.
Next week we have a guest speaker, Elizabeth Spivak, who I know from Bullhard.
Yes.
She is the author of Faith Over Fear, and she's going to talk to us about our thinking patterns and being persistent and not running away in a noisy world. She's a really talented young lady.
Cool.
So looking forward to having her there. So we're welcome to come back next week and see Elizabeth. So Mark, I will check out where your video went from last week, and I'll send it to you. I did see your message about that.
I don't have a spam filter, so that's not where it went.
Okay, it's somewhere, but I'll make sure you get it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So, all right, I'll bring this meeting to a close. Thank you all for intimate crowd today, but it was fun. I hope you both had fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Good. So come next week if you are so inclined. I'll be happy to have you.
Cool.
Everybody have a great week.
You too.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.